Hello and welcome to this week's Homebrew Wednesday video. I'm hoping the camera doesn't switch off on me today because it's playing up, fellas, and I don't know why. Probably because I've not used it for a while, because I've not been around, have I? Sorry about that. What can I say? I've been busy with work things and home things, and I took the opportunity with my first month's wages from my new job to take the wife away last weekend. We only went up to the Norfolk coast for a couple of days, but it was away from the kids and it was very, very pleasant indeed, and I'm very glad I did it. We had a very nice time, and it's always nice to get away. Lorraine and I haven't been away on our own, away from the girls, for about 6 years, so I'm sure you can imagine it was a nice thing to do. But what have I got here? This is a Young's IPA, fellas. I treated myself with my first month's wages I went mental. I spent it all on a beer kit. I bought a couple of beer kits actually. I bought the Festival IPA, which is, sorry, I didn't buy the Festival IPA. I bought the Young's IPA, which is this, and it's bloody lovely. I even don't mind the bittering now, fellas, if I'm brutally honest with you. As I'm beginning to like the more hoppier beers, I'm getting used to the bitterness. And this one is slightly bitter than I would say that I usually like. But it's a cracking beer. It's a cracking beer, honestly. I could drink a few of these, and I will. What else have I been up to then? Well, I've done another IPA. It was a Cooper's IPA, and I've basically thrown in 100 grams of additional hops: Amarillo, Cascade, Columbus, I think, and something else. I can't remember. If you check the Facebook group, you'll be able to find out yourselves. I threw it up on there. Half of the hops, so 50 grams, I threw on the stove for 10 minutes on the boil with some extract, and the other half dry hopped. I've had some problems with sediment though, and that the sediment, I wasn't able to get rid of all the sediment, so there's some of the bottles have got some sediment in, and I'm hoping once I cold crash and all that sediment will go down to the bottom. It's just hop stuff, you know, it's fine, it'll be absolutely fine to drink. It's carbonating fine, I'm sure it will taste alright, but there's sediments in there, so maybe cold crashing for a couple of weeks, maybe we'll sort that out, and I won't have to worry too much about getting a sieve out, pouring the beer through, you know, like a tea strainer or something into a pint glass, because that can be a pain, wouldn't it? So yeah, that's going on. The other thing I did, fellas, is I treated myself to a Festival Golden Stag. That's why I said Festival earlier. I love the Festival Golden Stag kit, fellas, and I'm sure if you've had it yourselves, you love it too. It's a really nice kit. I bought it from the Homebrew Company in Ireland because I wanted to buy some other stuff as well. We'll move on to that in a minute. And it was the cheapest, so I bought it from them. Free delivery up to a certain amount, and I bought some other bits and bobs. And it came, they delivered it, I opened it up, and the kit had been bashed about, and some of the extract had leaked out of the pouch that comes with the kit. It had been punctured, so there wasn't loads and loads of extracts everywhere, but there was enough to basically go all over the packaging and over the kit that was next to it. Fortunately, that kit's absolutely fine. So I took photos of it and I sent it to the Homebrew Company, and they provided me with a refund. Thank you to the Homebrew Company. It was absolutely the right thing to do in this instance. It looked like it had just been slung on my doorstep, and you know what these cheap delivery companies are like, fellas. And this goes out to the big companies out there, the big brewing companies that you know, want to sell beer kits, and they go with the cheapest company because, you know, there's a bit to save money. You should see the way they treat your parcels. It's not very good. And so I provided them with photographic evidence of these bashed up parcels and the malt everywhere, and they very kindly gave me a refund, which is great. I was looking at this pouch and I was thinking to myself, well, this is probably beyond saving now, and I was going to chuck it, and then I thought, well, hang on a minute. It's only a tiny little hole in there. Granted, it was enough of a hole for some of the malt to come out because they'd slung it around and it'd gone into the packaging and everything. So I probably lost a little amount, and probably about that much malt. But not enough to warrant me trying it anyway, just to see if I can salvage it. And I could have boiled up the malt extract on the stove, but what I wasn't sure of is whether that extract contained any hops already, you know, hops. And if it had, then boiling it up on the stove, you'd lose all of the flavours, you know, and I didn't really want to do that. So I thought, sod it, I'll do it anyway, which is exactly what I did. It's in the beer fridge of doom, in the conservatory of doom. And yeah, and I've threw the dry hops in there, and hopefully it will be all right, and we might be able to salvage it. And if we do salvage it, then brilliant, we've got a free beer kit, fellas. Fantastic. And it's the Golden Stag, so we know it's going to be really nice. But if it doesn't work out and it has become infected as a result of there, you know, being a hole in the extract, then we've not lost anything, have we? However, I've got a feeling we'll be all right, you know, because I looked at it, and while I was pouring it into the fermenting vessel, and when I opened it up to put the dry hops in, dry hops, you know, they weren't dry when they went in, were they? They were wet then, but for dry hopping, should I say, I had a quick sniff then, and it smelled okay. So hopefully, fingers crossed, fellas, that one will turn out all right. And I'll find out tomorrow, because tomorrow is when I'm going to be bottling the Festival Golden Stag. So watch the usual place on Facebook, and I'll let you know on there whether it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And maybe we'll do a taste test in a couple of weeks if it comes out okay. All right. So watch out for that. So what else did I buy? I bought a Muntons kit, Muntons IPA. I'm into IPAs at the moment, what can I tell you? Just love them. I mean, I just can't help myself, fellas. I don't know what's got into me. I love hoppy beers at the moment. I just can't get enough of them. And that's all I've been brewing. My last 4 or 5 beers have been hoppy beers. We had the mostly ghostly version of the Ghost Ship beer, which was as hoppy as a hoppy thing indeed, and beautiful beer. Beautiful beer. I mean, they were so close I couldn't tell them apart. That just come out so well. I'm so happy, and I'll definitely be doing that again. So we had the mostly ghostly, and everything I've done since then has been an IPA. So that's what I'm going to carry on doing, aside from the Festival Golden Stag, which isn't quite an IPA, but yeah, it's not too far off. It's quite hoppy and smack you in the face. So what else has been going on? The broadcasting, fellas, the regular viewers of the Lakey Bloke broadcasts on a Saturday night will know they are no longer. I'm not doing them anymore. However, I might be back for Christmas. We'll do a Christmas special like they used to do with Malcolm and Wise or whatever. You never know what's around the corner. I just don't have enough energy. I just can't be bothered, basically, to carry on doing it anymore. As I'm working now, you know, a lot of my time is taken up with work. You know, I leave for work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I get home at 7 o'clock at night, and you know, it's a long old day, fellas. So the weekend is my own, and by the time I get to Saturday night, I just don't have the energy to put into doing a broadcast anymore, I'm afraid. But come Christmas time, hopefully we'll have a new home, and I'll be feeling a little bit more energetic, and we'll be able to do some more stuff. But we'll see how it goes. I've noticed of late, actually, that across the board, that the UK fellas, especially, the home brewing videos are dying down a little, which I think is a shame. But you know, usually around about this time of the year, it happens. People have got other things to be getting on with, and it's the run up to Christmas too, so everyone's busy doing their own thing. But we'll try and keep these things going, but I can't promise they'll be every week, fellas, because life is very busy at the moment with a new job, and moving home, of course, soon. We may have a date in the next 7 days. Who knows what's going to happen? But it's all about the beer, fellas. I've been to Waitrose today. On the way home I had to go to the opticians today and get some new glasses so I can see properly when I'm reading up for close. It's booth for close-up. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, fellas. And on the way home we popped into Waitrose and I got some beers. So I'm going to be doing some reviews, so look out for those over the course of the next day or so, couple of days, 3 days, whenever I can get around to doing them and uploading them basically. So I'll do those and we'll see how we get on with that. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. But in the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic Homebrew Wednesday, weekday, weekend. Whatever it is for you fellas, it doesn't have to be a Wednesday, doesn't have to be the weekend, doesn't have to be a weekday. Whenever you want to do it, cheers to you, and do try the IPA by Youngs, because I'm telling you, it's a cracking beer. And it's so easy to knock together. I think you guys saw it in a previous video. Pouch of extract, chuck it in, fill it up with water, put the yeast in, put the lid on, job done. Can't go wrong with it, fellas, honestly. Granted, you have to throw some hops in at some point, but it's a perfect beer. It really is. It's a 9 out of 10 for that. It's a beautiful beer. As it is now, it's quite young, so it's at its hoppiest. And I think with IPAs, you know, if you can, drink those early because you'll want to get the best flavour out of it. But if you don't like it really, really hoppy, you've got a choice. You can either put in half the amount of hops, and I know Aussie Brew sent me a little message saying, Roy, you want to watch out for some of these kits. Particularly, he was talking about the Festival Golden Stag, and obviously I've done that kit before, so I'm well aware how hoppy that one is, and I loved it. He chose to put in half because not everybody likes it that hoppy. But what you'll find, fellas, is if you leave it a little bit longer, the beer has time to mature and some of the flavours will disperse as well, and you won't have such a hoppy beer, but it'll be a lot clearer, and who knows, it might even be a better beer as a result of that. But you could take the easy way out and only put half of the hops in as well. It's up to you, isn't it? That's what it's all about. It's a personal choice. Up to you what you want to do, fellas. I haven't got any ideas as to what to do in the next few Homebrew Wednesday videos. I was going to go back to doing a kind of talking about yeast and whether we should be rehydrating yeast and all that. You fellas will know I started off not rehydrating yeast. I just used to chuck it on and let it go. As time has moved on, however, my opinion has changed, and I'll put my hand up, and Paul, who sent me the big packet of the S04. I have used some of your yeast up, mate, in my IPA that's sitting over there with the hop sediment in. It went off like a rocket. It was fantastic. I did rehydrate. Did I rehydrate? I think I did. I usually do now. Because you get. I find I was wrong, fellas. I was wrong. I'll put my, you know, dib dib dob dob and all that. Put my hand up. After much more extensive research, shall we say, in the brewing department, I have found that if you rehydrate your dried yeast, never use the packets that come with the cheap Cooper's kits, okay? If you're buying a cheap kit and it comes with its own little sachet of yeast and there's only 5 or 6 grams of it, do this. Just chuck it, right? Use a decent yeast, it makes all the difference. And if you are going to use a decent yeast, rehydrate it, because you want to get as much good, healthy yeasties into that beer as you can. And by rehydrating your yeast, it gives your yeast a better chance of surviving the shock of going into a beer, and also you'll get a nicer, cleaner flavour out of the beer, I find. But again, it's a personal preference, fellas. You don't need to listen to me. As I've said, I've been wrong before, and I will come back later on if I do it for a prolonged period of time and I find I've been wrong. I will say I was wrong. I am wrong about rehydrating yeast. I never used to do it, but I do it all the time now. Definitely do it if you can. But Cooper's yeasts, don't use them, they're shit. Throw them away, they're rubbish, they are rubbish. If you want to use the Cooper's yeast, right, buy yourself a couple, 4 minimum, because they're only tiny little bottles. You can get Cooper's ale from the supermarket. I think Waitrose definitely do them. Okay, and I may have spoken about this on a previous Homebrew Wednesday video as well. Cooper's ale in the supermarket, you get 330 ml bottles, I think they are, and they have the yeast in there still, and you can stick it on a stir plate, cultivate it, grow it up and do it that way. You've got a better chance of getting a decent beer out of it then. But nothing wrong with UK S04 for your UK beers, and also US05 for your American style beers, American style IPAs and that kind of thing. But it's up to you to find what you prefer, fellas. I know some people that have done IPAs, really hoppy IPAs, and have used an English style yeast, and they've swear by it, and they say it's come out fantastic. Similarly, I've done so myself. I've done a mix and match before. I've used SO4s in American style IPAs, and I've used S05 instead of using the Cooper's yeast that comes with the kit, and it always comes out better than using the bloody crappy sachet of yeast that comes with the kit. What I'm getting at, fellas, is that if you're going to buy a cheap kit, and I used to do it myself, buy cheap kits because I was out of work and I couldn't afford to spend £25 on a beer kit, especially if you go to Tesco's Direct or Wilko's or any places like that. Swap the yeast out, put a decent yeast in there. It will make so much difference, honestly. I can't see myself ever changing my mind on that particular aspect of brewing. What I will say is you get what you pay for, but you can get better results with a cheap kit if you use a decent yeast. If you've got a decent yeast, you're halfway there, fellas, you really are. And to make a cheap kit even better, then you throw in some hops. You only need to do a 10-minute boil on the stove with some malt extract. Choose some hops that you like, your Cascade, your Amarillos, Columbus, anything you like. You might like Fuggles even. I don't like Fuggles, but you might like Fuggles. Any type of hops that you want to throw into a beer, 10-minute boil on a stove, chuck it in with your kit. Maybe even dry hop, fellas. It makes so much difference. You can get so much more out of a cheap kit by throwing in a little bit of extra time and a little bit of extra ingredients and a decent yeast. It's all about the yeasties. Alright, you can use a decent yeast if you can. I've got a winter warmer in the cupboard. I bought a Wilko's, the Wilko's winter warmer. I think it's the Geordie winter warmer, isn't it, fellas? It's not Wilko's, but they do sell it in Wilko's. The Geordie winter warmer is going to be my Christmas beer. I'm going to be putting that on soon. I don't know whether to put it on now, because we may have a date of moving, so it might be the next beer that goes on. I need to find out how many bottles I've got spare lying around as well, because I've got loads of beer at the moment. The Geordie winter warmer, I'm going to be getting the yeast and doing this with it, and probably using some S04 in that. Thanks to Paul again for sending me the S04, but I've got the yeast, so I'm going to use it. Alright, it's in the fridge at the moment, it's going to be sitting there, it's going to be lovely. And I'm going to be chucking in some Cascade maybe. I might even throw in some Mosaic. I've got some Mosaic in I've got 1.7 kilos of hops. I've got plenty of stuff in there to decide what I'm going to chuck into that winter warmer, but that is a good cheap kit. But you can get more out of it by just putting a little bit of extra time into it. So that's all for me for this week, fellas. I'm going to be sipping a few more of these today. Hopefully you're going to have a fantastic weekend too. This one looks a little bit yeasty, but I don't care because I'm thirsty and I'm going to drink it anyway. Hopefully you have a great weekend. I will see you soon on the next Homebrew Wednesday video, whenever that may be. Hopefully it will be sooner rather than later, but as I say, I'm a busy man, you know what I mean? And unless I've got some stuff to show you, I think the next video will be me rustling up something, because I like to alternate as best I can. That's the Homebrew Wednesday video. So between now and the next Homebrew Wednesday video, there'll be a couple of videos of me doing some beer reviews on some beers I bought from Waitrose. So look out for those. There is a Citra beer by Oakham Ales, and when I did a review of it ages ago, I didn't like it too much. I thought it was a bit too much. But now I'm into hoppier beers, it's time to revisit it, fellas. So watch out for that one. That'll be coming up over the course of the next couple of days. So thanks to you subscribers. Oh, while I'm here, before I go, I almost forgot, we've hit fireworks time. We've got over 1,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for subscribing. Hopefully you enjoy watching these ramblings as much as I enjoy doing them. At the moment though, I just don't have the time to do it as much as I would like. But thank you for sticking with me. I really do appreciate your following, your thumbs ups, your comments. Keep them coming, fellas, because if it wasn't for you, then I wouldn't be doing this, because I'd just be talking to myself, and not for the first time. Alright, so thank you for taking me over and above 1,000. If I wasn't moving soon, I would probably be doing some sort of competition where I'll be sending out stuff, but things are so manic at the moment, we might have to wait until we get to the 1,500 or even the big 2. You never know, might be a big one, that. So I'll see you on the next one. Have a fantastic time. Cheers, fellas. Ta-ra.